We have Selma Porovic representing Aurora University. She is also institutional coordinator of the Aurora Alliance at Palacký University in Czech Republic. And we also have today with us Francisco de Adro, who is also an institutional coordinator at his university, Universidade de Beira Interior in Portugal, representing UNITA Alliance. And myself, my name is Magdalena Sikowska, and I am the Secretary General of UNIS Alliance, and I will be chairing this session today with you. And let me just tell you that why we are here together, because we've been cooperating for a few years now in a group that has been created among the alliances, the European University Alliances. This is a group on cooperation with non-EU partners. Selma and myself, we've been chairing this group, and Francisco is a very active member of this group. And this is how the idea came from, that we decided that we want to have this session at the EAIE to share our experience, to share our insights of the group and what we have been working on in the group so far. So let me start with our session agenda. We'll start with a very short introduction of our group, and then we'll move on to the results of the survey that we have been having among the alliances. And the survey is on the geopolitical strategies of the alliances outside of EU. Then we'll move on to a case study in the Gemini project that will be presented by Francisco from the perspective of UNITA Alliance. We'll have a short Q&A session, and then we want to also engage you in this session, so it will not only be listening, but we want to have you engaged, and we have prepared some possibilities for you to have an input on 3 topics that you see here around you, which will be the resources and legal obstacles, cultural barriers, and inclusivity. But we are looking for some good practices and ideas from your side. And then there will be a short wrap-up at the very end. So let me start with introducing you the concept of how we work and who we work with in our group on cooperation with non-EU partners. These are the participating alliances that we have been working together. We meet, let's say, every 2 months online. Actually, we didn't have a chance even to meet on-site before with Selma, and we are co-chairing the group because the meetings has been only taking place online, so we are happy that we could get together on this occasion of the conference. And here's some information about the group itself. So it has been established in 2021, so we've been in operation for 3 years now. And currently brings together 25 European University Alliances. And it is a forum to get to know each other's different perspectives of this cooperation with non-EU partners, and to get inspired for our future actions that we may take in this area. It's also an arena to share our best practices in terms of international partnerships that we try to create within the alliances. And it's a place to discuss also financial possibilities and obstacles, and legal objectives and obstacles, which may imply the cooperation that is outside of EU borders. So, without further ado, I'm inviting now Selma Porovic to present the results of the survey that we have been conducting among the alliances. Selma, the floor is yours.
Okay, good afternoon. Thank you very much, Magda, for the introduction. So my name is Selma, and I'm institutional coordinator for Aurora at Palacký University in Lomond. I have many hats in our alliance. I'm also leading the capacity development program for Central Eastern Europe, and also coordination in support of our Ukrainian associate partner, Kharkiv University in Ukraine. But today I'm in the capacity of co-chair with my colleague Magda to give you the overview of the survey that we have collected on behalf of alliances that meet in our working group for EU non-EU partnerships working group. So I will introduce you to our survey that has two parts, basically because we know that alliances are saturated with surveys, so we put together two very important topics, which is not just geopolitical strategy for non-EU collaborations, but also the inclusivity programs for supporting migrants and refugees across our alliances. So the survey first-hand data analysis that I will be sharing with you today has these two parts. It was organized by our working group that I already mentioned, so cooperation with non-EU partners. A small task force came together, so Aurora, Eunice, and Ulysses to build up or to establish this survey and to distribute it. We also consulted the structure of it and the questions with the entire working group. And we saw it as a tool, because we've been meeting over 3 years and sharing the practices of each alliance with each other in these meetings. But now we saw it as a tool to collect the data from as many alliances as possible to establish some joint overview of the challenges, but also some good practices in non-EU collaboration among the alliances. We conducted the survey this year between March and July, and we had 18 alliances responding. We would like to move on now. This is just the first-hand data that I'm presenting to you, but we would like to move to full report and sharing it with a 4-year bureau or maybe even with the new project community practice for all the alliances. That will start, I think, from November this year. So, first part of the survey has the information about strategy and plans of the 18 alliances that responded to the survey. Then there are some objectives of collaboration that they shared with us, and then some challenges. Second part that I will share with you is also about inclusivity, different support programs for and measures for refugees and migrants. Here you have the overview of all 18 alliances that participated. I'm very proud to say that some of the newly joined alliances to our group, who were just established with the latest call, also responded positively and provided us with data. So I'm now going to share this interesting data with you. As you can see, when the question was asked, does your alliance have a strategy? €1 million question for cooperation with partners from non-EU countries. We have sort of half-half, so more alliances leaning towards yes, we have a strategy, and also 8 alliances saying, no, we don't have a strategy. But if you do some math, you will see that this is not 18, it's actually 19 answers, and I left it there on purpose because 2 different people from one and same alliance responded with yes and no. This is okay. This is okay, because when we look back how it was in the beginning, we all know that it takes time to sort of reach a coherent standpoint and to consolidate within the alliance. And so I thought this was very nice to see that, you know, they may have different views coming from different institutions right now. But it's a very different answer when we ask, does your alliance plan to develop such a strategy, as you can see to the right. And yes, majority plans to develop a strategy for non-EU partnership or non-EU collaborations. And some are indecisive, but some have partial plans to develop maybe some programs and activities, but not a full strategy on behalf of the alliance. You would always have alliances listed here who have responded. We thought that was interesting, and also all the alliances following the GDPR gave us their consent to put their names there. When we look at the geographical overview, you would see that those that are dark blue are the areas or geographical regions of interest, and we see that a lot of alliances lean towards collaboration with Ukraine and Eastern neighborhood, but also Canada and US, and then there are different countries in Latin America, Africa, Asia. For each alliance would be like 1 or 2 countries listed. It becomes more clear on the next slide when we ask the question, what are the countries that you would like to collaborate with, those that are associated with the Erasmus Plus program. Then you can see that majority of these countries are, they're listed here. It's Norway, North Macedonia, but a lot of alliances didn't list the country. Actually, they listed a geographical region, and you can see that Sub-Saharan Africa features very prominently there among the regions that were listed. then US and Canada, and then you have Western Balkans, neighboring Eastern countries, South Mediterranean countries, and then the other countries. Regions. Interesting question for us, very much so, was the objectives of this collaboration. And you can see them listed here in a way that they sort of fall into two categories. One would be further internationalization of alliances, and if you were in the conference yesterday in Hotel Occitan, this was discussed very much so, internationalization of alliances. What is that? Many of the alliances see this internationalization not just as expanding their partnerships internationally beyond Europe, but also exporting what we do. So also not just European knowledge, but also European values in education, European education models, EAIE as a brand for some alliances, and attracting students to Europe. So that's one of the very prominent objectives. The other one is also, and I would like to say it's not surprising because in the very call for European university alliances, this was very, I would say, a foundation, you know, to build on the European values, to strengthen them, to grow together. So that is very clearly expressed there. Globalization and SDGs is another objective that was featured very prominently for the alliances, and it has to do with tackling global issues, societal issues together through new technologies, exchanging, through research, through new joint degree programs, capacity building, etc. The two, of course, are not mutually exclusive. Many alliances have stated both. So internationalization and expansion beyond the EU, exporting what we do, European values, but also tackling global issues with new partners globally. When we look at the cooperation types that were stated, then we can see that majority of cooperation types actually involve strengthening research collaborations, research links and collaborations. Then you can also see that it's about exchange of practices, not a surprise, capacity building, as I mentioned, shared education, enlarging the academic programs, etc. There are many different activities stated. Those who did not fall into these other categories would mention third mission, so innovation, collaboration with society, stakeholders, etc. Many also draw from Horizon Europe programs to strengthen this kind of global collaboration in research. Coming to interesting topic, which is funding for these collaborations. Well, when we asked, is your alliance cooperation strategy with non-EU countries linked to specific funding, then you can see that the majority of alliances, 10 of them said no. But also quite a large number of them said yes, so 9 alliances. And you have all the funding options listed here in the slide, but basically they come down to the grant money that we receive from the European Commission, so the EU funding, a lot of other Erasmus funding opportunities, and also own institutional funding. When we look at the activities that are funded on behalf of alliances in these partnerships, so what are the priorities? This is the order of priorities that we could extract from the survey. So mobilities and exchange of staff and students come first. A lot of that has to do with also virtual exchanges, mobility trainings, blended mobility. Then we have education, doing COILs, various education projects, micro-credentials as well, hackathon, summer schools, etc. Research comes third with open science, R&I programs, research reforms, etc. Different research career projects, seeding funding, and so on. Then we have a lot of alliances working, spending money on work packages where they already had mentioned these partners for institutional cooperation. We have capacity building, we have HR, networking activities, and we also have some alliances that have not defined the scope of action that they would like to fund in these collaborations. Additional funding sources are interesting to look at. So, has your alliance applied for additional funding to support these kind of collaborations? Yes, quite few have, 9 of them, 10 no. When we look at the funding, it's capacity building, Erasmus K171, Erasmus Mundus, but also some other options like Horizon for Research, Digital Europe, etc. One striking thing is when we asked, does your national agency prioritize co-funding, many alliances didn't know. As you can see, majority, 9 of them didn't know if their national agency would prioritize their work in general and also this part of the work. But this is, I would say, it's a mixed bag because it could be that the answer came most of the time from the secretariat or central offices, so it could be in the country where the central offices are based that this is the case, not for all the institutions, of course, that participate in the alliance. And when we look at some of the main cooperation challenges listed, then they fall into 2 categories, I would like to say. Lack of coordinated approach, template, how to do these kind of non-EU partnership collaborations. Then no strategy for doing it, no structure to support it, which makes all the bilateral agreements difficult, bureaucratic barriers are there are legal obstacles, and also the other part, which is super important here, that's a lack of funding, but not just lack, but more like inadequacy in funding. No coordination between different EU funds that are supporting this kind of cooperation, and in general, lack of funding to associate partners within the EU grants, European university grants. Of course, this brings some indecision to the alliances, so many, because of this, do not have any strategy, and there's lack of people to work. There are some issues with IT and communication, infrastructural issues, working with non-EU partners, and cultural barriers, of course, in organization and management. Now, I would like to turn your attention to the second part, very briefly, and it is about inclusion and support programs. Initially, these were 2 surveys, as I said, we had to merge them. And here you could see that the majority of alliances do not have a common policy for including refugees and migrants. Some have partial, some have some kind of approaches that they call policies, but most of all, there's no common ground here. Many of the alliances do not participate in Scholars at Risk program, but they have some solutions of their own. Sometimes national agencies, like in Poland, have really generously supported these initiatives of collaboration with Ukraine. So Solidarity with Ukraine in Poland is a support towards alliances that work with Ukrainian universities. And then there's a lot of own funding. The programs that are supported, you can see, are mostly concerning financial support for migrants and refugees, legal advice, orientation at the campus for students, hosting dormitories, and also support for mobility. But many alliances, 4 of them, do it case by case as they work with specific partners here. And just to give you the last slide here, it's the obstacles that were identified. Quite often these are complex, lengthy status, so visa, working visa, or studying visa procedures for staff and students who are refugees at the alliances, different institutions. It's about administrative registration, work permits, but also language barriers, housing issues, etc. Many alliances work, again, case by case, depending on the influx of refugee students and staff they have, and many do not have one approach to it, but also different institutional approaches under the umbrella of one and same alliance. Okay, I would like to stop there with sharing our data and give the words to Brenda.
Thank you. We've been working on this preparation for the questionnaire. It took us many, many months then to get the data, so it's, as you know, a long process, and to get people really respond, that was another challenge that we were facing. So we are actually very happy that we got 18 alliances responding, because this topic of cooperation with non-EU partners is not something that is on top of the agenda at the very beginning when you create such alliances. And alliances are only like 5 years old now. So this is something that the alliances start to think of once they really roll out and expand, and so that's another stage. And there are a lot of new alliances now also, so that's a process that you need to get there in terms of thinking of this extension and also in this collaboration outside of EU. But now we move on from the broader perspective to one case study that we wanted to share with you from the UNITA Alliance. a Gemini project. So my colleague Francisco will tell you now a little more about this project. Francisco, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Magda. Boa tarde a todos. Buenas tardes. Buenos días a todos. Bom dia. It's a traditional welcoming Romance language because UNITA, it's the UNITA, as far as I know, is the only alliance in which all the full partners are located in Romance-speaking language countries. So UNITA was founded in 2020 with 6 full partners. So UBI in Coimbra, Portugal, UNITA in Spain, Zaragoza, UPTA and USMB in France, UNITO in Torino, Italy, and UBT in Timișoara, Romania, all located in coast-cover and mountainous regions. Last year, 1 year ago, we introduced 4 more full partners, Politécnico da Guarda in Portugal, Universidad Pública de Navarra in Spain, Universitas de Brescia in Italy, and Transylvanian University of Warsaw in Romania, and also 2 associated partners, HSSO from Switzerland and Chemistry National University from Ukraine. As I said before, we used to say that we are an English-friendly alliance, but promoting Romance languages and intercomprehension. And how do we do that? One, of course, we try to send emails between us in our mother languages, but also we try to promote that outside Europe. And how? With the Gemini network. The Gemini network was created in September 2021 with 30 universities that were invited by the founders of UNITA with specific criteria. The invited university must be located in a Romance language-speaking country with previous strong agreements, protocols between the universities for example, mobility of students, mobility of researchers, and also in some cases, for example, between Coimbra in Portugal and Montium in Brazil, when there was previous agreements of twinning cities, between cities. So today we are talking about an alliance of 13 universities in 15 countries. It's based on active cooperation and exchange of good practices between the UNITA University and the non-European partners. So here are our partners. So we are partners from Algeria, Argentina, Benin, Burkina Faso, Brazil, Cabo Verde, Canada, Cuba, Colombia, Madagascar, Morocco, Mozambique, Mexico, Dominican Republic, and East Timor. And the full list of, and for those who are interested, in our website we have the direct link on the Gemini menu. You can enter directly in the website of the partners. Of course, in order to grow up this network and to try to organize some good activities and try to exchange good practices, we have some strategic associated partners for this task. The Gemini in our alliance, we have a specific task for Gemini. It's task 5.5, and in the first wave of UNITA, it was the task 8.3, if I remember well. So we have a specific team in each university working for Gemini. We used to meet once a month. So, what are our associated partners? Well, for example, the Agência Universitaire de la Francophonie, a Associação das Universidades de Língua Portuguesa, a Organização de los Estados Ibero-Americanos, PICAR for intercomprehension, for example. What are the activities that we are running with the Gemini partners? The share of best practices in teaching, in research, for example, the work in the innovative pedagogies. We have some target areas as circular economy and environment, cultural heritage, green energies, global health, inclusive societies, and digital conjunction. And these target areas correspond to the 6 research hubs of UNITA. We have a research cartography. It's open. You can consult it in the internet, and in which our researchers submit their projects, individual or team projects, and we use this project, for example, for PhD co-tutors. And now, one of our objectives is to open the research cartography to Gemini researchers also. And we also, for example, intercomprehension courses for UNITA members and Gemini members. I was talking about the best practices awards that recognize the pioneering activities and initiatives, and the first wave of the best practice award was done last year, and we awarded 6 projects that were presented by 5 Latin American universities. For example, the Universidad de Rosario in Colombia, Universidad Nacional de Cuyo in Argentina, Ciudad Católica de Colombia, Universidad Autónoma de San Luis Potosí in Mexico, and la Universidad Nacional de La Plata in Argentina. And as you can see, we are in very different topics. We are, for example, a topic related with legal and social empowerment and access to justice, but we have also a double degree in computer science between San Luis Potosí et l'Université de Pau des Pays de la Loire. Till now, so Gemini network was created in September 2011, the 15th. We used to have some online meetings, but till now we had two physical meetings. The first one was in Barcelona the day before the EAIE in September 2022. So it was mainly ice-breaking activities workshop in order to know better each other. It was the first physical contact. And last year in Pau we had a 3-day event with a lot of thematic workshops, some speed dating sessions also, and the best practice awards session. And now what's next? So we are, for example, in this moment, we launched the call just before the summer break. We are opening the virtual mobility courses to the Gemini researchers and professors. So we have, in UNITA, we have a catalog of virtual courses, and the Gemini courses that, well, it's not mandatory, of course, can submit their course to our catalog. It can be specific courses in economy, architecture, engineering, or languages courses, for example. This is the first phase, and depending on the results, we will open the virtual mobility courses to the Gemini students in the second phase. We also have some activities related to micro-credentials. We will open the research cartography, intercomprehension courses. We also want to build some Erasmus Mundus master and capacity building projects. And of course, we will have the next best practice hour session next year in Zaragoza in Spain. And for my part, I'm done. I know the time is running, so we are open for some
questions from you.
Thank you very much. And I think the UNITA examples show that really it's possible to get so many universities from outside of EU on board and cooperate. So as you can see, that's a huge project that you're running, and congratulations again to you. So now it's time for you to ask, comment, if you have any questions to any of the speakers, or about the. We have a mic there, and we have some raised hands. So maybe.
The mics are